Welcome to the School of Computing, Engineering and Built Environment Learning Development Centre, Induction. The topics we're going to cover during this session are an overview of the LDC provision and support, international student support, academic year structure, academic essentials, timetables and independent learning, assessment, exams and coursework, lectures, tutorials and labs, academic performance, plagiarism and the GCU Code of Student Conduct, fit to sit, disability support, classroom and online etiquette, ICT at GCU, Wednesday afternoon workshops, and how to be successful. The School of Computing, Engineering and Built Environment Learning Development Centre, abbreviated to LDC. The LDC is staffed by a team of experienced academic development tutors, ADTs, we love acronyms, with particular areas of expertise and skills. We provide students with academic support to help them maximise their potential in areas such as academic writing, international and English support, mathematics, ICT and general study skills. We want to help you to meet your aspirations and to become effective, independent, lifelong learners. Let's meet the team. You have Melanie and Sally and Josiane and Ursula, who all cover academic writing and language support for students. And they also include dissertation support across the programmes as well. Melanie specialises in international students, Sally specialises in articulating students. For mathematics support we have Callum and David. And finally there's myself, Jim Canning. I specialise in general study skills and ICT skills. LDC resources, we have a lot of resources. We have our own website with resources and links to resources. We have GCULearn. There's a module that all the students inside the School of Computing, Engineering and Built Environment are attached to, and that is also used to send out announcements to all the students in the school. And we also have a lot of resources on there, and we run our online workshops from there as well. There's also an English for Academic Purposes module, EAP for short, and we run weekly Wednesday afternoon online workshops with some on campus as well. Students can contact us to arrange one-to-one meetings or small group meetings, and they can be on campus or online. And our shared email address is askLDC@gcu.ac.uk. And you can use this QR code to get you to the website. Any links shown in the session will be included in the description area below the video. You can use your mobile phone to scan the QR code, open up the website on your browser. GCU recommends you use the Chrome browser, and I would suggest you view the website with your phone. If you're using your phone or your tablet in landscape orientation, it's easier to navigate.
International student support. For new students who are arriving in a new country with a different climate, to a country with a different way of doing things, and away from friends and family can sometimes be a little overwhelming. So the Learning Development Centre provides dedicated support to enable all international students to adapt to the different academic and socio-cultural challenges of studying in a UK university environment, so GCU. You will have the support to adapt to all the differences in communication skills, communicating with your peers and to the lecturers, the different academic writing and skills which are required, and a different cultural environment and linguistic expectations. In order to provide the support, the LDC offers all international master's students an EAP module with a series of online Tuesday lunchtime workshops, one-to-one sessions online or on campus, 30-minute bite-sized sessions and on-campus drop-ins. So for international students who will be offered the EAP module, which you'll see in your timetable in the beginning of week 4, it covers several things. The first one you'll be covering is the rationale for academic integrity and the best way to avoid plagiarism, all different ways of defining plagiarism in different countries. Navigating critical thinking communication skills. These may differ from your previous place of studying. the strategies you can employ for studying effectively and managing your time, how to improve your paragraphs, how to write reports and differences between reports and assignments, how to write concise sentences. You will also strengthen your academic writing, ICT and math skills through the support offered by the LDC, and there is a series of dissertation writing classes which will be offered to help you with your dissertation as you progress through your year. So the EAP module will be available on GCULearn when you log in, and the classes are run online weekly. Recordings are posted on the module after the class, so if you're unable to attend the 1 hour session on a Tuesday, you can listen to the recording. On the EAP module, there'll be links to other study and academic resources, and it's its own closed learning environment there to support all the students. A new thing is the 30-minute bite-sized online sessions via the Learning Development Centre module. We also offer drop-in sessions, so if you have any questions at all about anything to do with your assignments, assessments, study work, etc., you can drop in the dates there and they will be emailed to you. And we also offer one-to-one sessions and on-campus appointments. There will be 2 sessions offered to all international students, one on the 7th of February, one on the 14th of February, and it's an introduction to managing academic and cultural transition when you arrive at GCU, covering such aspects such as the communication barriers and interaction with lecturers, and becoming accustomed to different teaching methods and the challenges in learning styles.
And this is the link to the International Student Support webpage on the Learning Development Centre website. Moving on, let's talk about the academic year structure. This is the full academic year starting from September. However, this is for trimester B for January starts, so the academic year started on the 29th of January and will run for 12 weeks until halfway through April. There'll be a 1 week study break, and then any exams related to trimester A or B will run during the 2.5 weeks they run after, starting the week beginning the 30th of April. For the January starts, you'll probably have teaching during the summer, so that will start on the 20th of May all the way through to the week beginning the 5th of August. You'll be doing any classes then. However, if you have any resets from trimester B, for example coursework or exams, then the coursework will take place during the trimester C teaching, and any reset exams will take place during the 2 weeks in August. Any exams related to trimester C will also take place during the 2 weeks in August. Academic essentials. For your modules, you need to find out how your individual modules will be assessed. Is it a combination of exams and coursework, or exams or coursework? Typically it's exams and coursework, or coursework only. There's very few modules with exams only. If a module does have a formal exam, when and where does it take place? It's something you'll need to find out and we'll touch later on. If a module has coursework, what type of coursework is it? Where is it? When is it to be submitted or completed by? If a module has a class test, when and where will it take place? All this information is typically on GCULearn and on the university websites. As I say, we'll cover that shortly. So for academic essentials, a good place to start is the university homepage. That's www.gcu.ac.uk, and there's also the QR code there. And if you start off by clicking the hamburger icon on the top right hand side, that will take you to current students. You go to current students, click on academic essentials, and then a list of the information comes up there. I'm not going to go through them all, but I'll highlight the useful ones right away. Policies and procedures, why am I pointing you there? Because that's where the GCU Code of Student Conduct is. Very useful document to be aware of where it is and the content. I certainly wouldn't recommend you read it from start to finish. I would suggest you look at the contents so that at least you'll remember at some point in the future if something comes up, it's covered in that, then you can go and look at the detail. It's written in quite a formal, legal sounding manner, so it's not an exciting read, but it does have a lot of very useful information. There's also a link there for timetables, your own personal timetables you can link to there, and the term dates as well. Exams are also shown. That's where you will find exam schedules when they're published, and you'll also find fit to sit in there, but again we'll touch on that later. And last but not least, on this particular listing, I'll highlight modules. That's where the online module catalogue is, and that's where you would find how your modules are assessed. And we'll also highlight GCULearn, because that is the repository for all your module information. That's where you need to log on. Your modules will show there, including an all school module that you will be attached to. That's how you get into it. There are other places on the website to get to the same place. So timetables and independent learning. At university, you might find that you don't have scheduled classes on every day of the week, or even scheduled classes for every hour of any day that you are in. However, if you want to be successful, you will need to make effective use of your non-scheduled time. So here's an example timetable, all these big gaps, rather than looking at them as time to kill between classes, or a long lie in, or a day off, for example on the Friday in this one. You may well look at the spaces that are there as opportunities to study. I would strongly recommend you make good use of it. And also take care of yourself. Remember, have your lunch. Now, students are expected to study out with the campus too, in the evenings and even weekends, if required. When required. If you've got a coursework coming up for Friday midnight and you're running behind, then you need to put the effort in. You can't just stop at 5 o'clock and switch off to the next morning and be successful. It's not possible just to turn up for classes, not study and expect to pass your modules. Many have tried and failed. There's many students have resits every summer. Every module has a descriptor that includes expected total hours of independent learning required to fully understand your module. So this is actually a time that's put in the module descriptor by the module team, and that's the amount of hours they're expecting you to work out with taught classes. So a typical self-study hours for a standard 20 credit module works out at around 9 hours per week. The PT and FT, PT is short for part-time students, that's like day release, and FT is full-time students. As you can see, the time is exactly the same. So if you're doing 3 20 credit modules per trimester, in theory that's 27 hours of study per week, not including time in classes. This may seem like an incredible amount, and yes, it is a lot of hours. Do all the students get that? Well, no, the reality is most don't. However, the closer you can get to the recommended amount of time spent on a module, the more likely you are to be very successful. Assessments, exams and coursework. How will your modules be assessed? Generally, modules are assessed in 2 ways. Formal exam and coursework, and there'll be a weighting applied, so it's a case of a formal exam and coursework. The exam might be 70% and 30% coursework. Some modules it's 50-50, but you basically need to check yourself in the module descriptors. It may be a coursework only module, but coursework can cover a multitude of things. That'd be assignments, class tests, online tests, practical work, or a combination of all or some of these. There will be strict deadlines for submission. Most submissions these days are done online, and if the deadline is midnight on Friday and you try to submit at 1 minute past midnight, you'll find the portal to submit is no longer there. If you miss the deadline, you will automatically be 0 marked and as a non-submission, and that would mean you've got a resit at the summer for that piece of coursework. What I would say, if you are struggling to meet a deadline because something significant has happened, there might be worth asking the module leader for an extension. Give them a good reason, ask them. They may well say no, and you'll not be any worse off than you are. However, they may actually say yes, okay, and they might give you an extra day or two. No harm in asking. The module catalogue, I gave you an idea of what it was earlier on in the academic essentials. This QR code will take you there, and there's also the web link below if you followed that. That's where you can read the assessment criteria. So here's an example of some assessment criteria from a module. In this case here, you can see on the left, it's got 2 pieces of coursework, coursework 1 and coursework 2, and also has an exam. If you look at the coursework, you can see each one is 15% weighting. The exam itself, it shows you it's going to be 3 hours long. It's got a weighting of 70%. Now, a heads up, to pass a module, you must pass each individual assessment. So in this case, you must pass Coursework 1, Coursework 2 and the exam. In times gone by, it used to be the aggregate result, for example, of the courseworks. If you didn't do so well in the first coursework and did better in the second, then the overall mark, if that was a pass, that was fine. These days that's not the case. You must pass everything, every single piece of assessment within a module to pass the module. Now, a reminder, formal exams take place during scheduled exam diets. So time that's put aside after teaching, that's when exams take place. So trimester A exams take place in January. Trimester B exams take place at the end of April, at the start of May. Trimester C exams and the resit exams take place in August. Note, most class tests take place during the 12 weeks of teaching. So if you're doing something that feels like an exam, but it's actually during the 12 weeks of teaching, it is not an exam, it's a class test. Some module teams like to run the class test during the formal exam diet. How you would know that would be looking in GCULearn. Something that's a class test does not appear on the exam schedule. It will be in GCULearn for that module. So, a module has a formal exam. How do you find out when and where it is? Well, approximately 6 weeks into each trimester, the university will publish an online exam schedule containing information on the exam date, exam time and the location of the exam. We'll also let you know for every exam whether it's online or on campus. Now, this schedule is for the whole university. Every single exam is taking place in the university during that diet. Students need to search the schedule using the module code to find the exam details. Why do I emphasise the module code? Because there are modules with similar sounding titles. However, every module has its own individual identifier module code. So to get the exact information, always search using the module code. If, for example, you were unfortunate enough to search using the module title and you selected the wrong module and you turned up for the exam for that module and it turned out, you were the wrong exam, the exam you should have been was before that, then what would have happened is the exam you should have been at, you will be marked down as non-attendance and 0 marked, and you'll have a resit at the summer. So always use the module code. Now, online exams will take place via GCULearn for that module. When you get the information to start an exam, you would log on that day, just before the exam starts, onto the module in GCULearn and go into the Collaborate Alta area. Some of the stuff we'll explain later on. So here's an example of the timetable. So if I highlight the top one there, you get the module title, the module code, the date the exam will take place and the date the exam will start. There's no finish time because this exam is an online exam. So the question is the exam being held on campus? The answer is no. It's an online exam, so the information for that exam will appear in GCULearn for that module, that date and time. Another example, you can see they're colour coded, so the blue ones are the ones that are taking place on campus, the ones in white background are taking place online. So in this case you have a module title, module code, exam date, the time it starts, the time it finishes, yes it is on campus, and it gives you the room number you have to attend. So always use the module code, always search using the module code, that way you will get the right information. Lectures, tutorials and labs. We do monitor attendance. You have to scan in your ID card, your student ID badge, which is mounted, the scanner is mounted on the wall outside the entrance to each of the classrooms. And you can basically scan your way in. Some are inside the classrooms, but that way you get in and it's recorded. So you need to swipe in your student ID card. It's very important that you attend all your lectures, tutorials and labs. As I said, the attendance is monitored, and that also includes online as well. When you have an online lecture through your module in Collaborate Ultra, then that is also recorded. Fact is, students who attend all the classes have a much better pass rate than students who don't. But attendance is extremely important. If you are falling behind attendance, then let your programme leader know what's going on. It may be a case we can provide you support, but it's really important that we know what's happening. Do not just disappear. Right? Let us know what's going on and support will be put in place. Lectures. In general, lectures have big class sizes. It can be 100 plus students, some of them sometimes more. Because one subject can be common to different programmes, therefore a large number of students attend the same lecture. In a lecture, questions are not encouraged. There's just too many people to answer. The lecturer has a fixed amount of time to get their subject across to a lot of people, and you have to learn how to take notes and pick up which points are important. Tutorials and labs. These are different from lectures as the class is split into smaller groups. Tutorials and labs are where questions should be asked. Most of the time it will not be the lecturer that takes the tutorial. However, I strongly encourage you to never leave a tutorial or a lab with unanswered questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, that is what the tutor and the staff are there for. Academic performance. At master's level, the minimum pass mark is 50. A reminder, you must pass every assessment in a module to pass the module. If your mark is less than 50, you failed the module and will have to reset the assessment that you failed. At master's level, a second attempt is a final attempt, so it's really, really important. You put the work in, pass things first time. If you are sitting something as a second attempt and you fail it, then your time at university is over. If you find that you are not performing at the level you hope for, do something about it. Your Learning Development Centre is a good place to start, so get in touch with us. Plagiarism and the GCU Code of Student Conduct. The GCU Code of Student Conduct lays out the expectations of positive student behaviour and what happens when those expectations are not met. According to the code, plagiarism is the unacknowledged incorporation of the academic material, published or unpublished, of another person or persons. Or it is the reuse of a student's own previous written work or data presented for assessment on a previous occasion, and that is known as self-plagiarism. Some examples are using another person's academic material, and that could be writing, drawings, ideas, data, without reference or acknowledgement. Or summarising another person's written material by changing some words or altering the order of the presentation without acknowledgement. If you don't include reference or acknowledgement, you're basically saying, I did this myself. Ghostwriting. The use of commissioned material without reference or acknowledgement. This is a case of where you've perhaps gone to somewhere online, supplied them with your assessment, paid them money, and somebody else has done the work, given it back, and you've submitted it and basically without reference or acknowledgement, therefore you're saying, I did this. So that's plagiarism. So as a summary, the GCU Code of Student Conduct is very relevant to you. As I said earlier on, make yourself familiar with its contents. So follow the link, the policy procedures link I showed earlier, and go in and go through the index, get a sense of what's in there. But you don't necessarily have to read it all. Just be aware it's there, and that way you'll know where to look should something come up. Now, the consequences of plagiarism are very serious indeed, so make use of the readily available GCU resources to help you avoid it. You can use the Learning Development Centre, and the library also supply a resource called Cite Them Right. And the Learning Development Centre, we run workshops for this as well, and so does the library. So make sure you use these resources to help you avoid plagiarism. Fit to sit. What happens when exceptional, serious, acute circumstances occur that genuinely affect preparation for an assessment, or a student's ability to undertake an assessment and or submit a coursework on time? So perhaps someone's ill. When a student believes that they are not fit to sit or submit, they can advise the university using an online fit to sit form, up to 5 days before an exam or coursework submission date and up to 2 days after the date. So what happens when a student submits a fit to sit form within the fit to sit submission timeframe? So that's within the 5 before, 2 after. If work was submitted when the exam was taken, so that's where someone's feeling ill and they still did the work, still submitted it, and then realised, you know what, I'm not doing myself any favours here. If I was in better health, I would do a lot better in this. I will submit a fit to sit form. Or they've actually felt poorly and turned up for the exam and had a go at it and realised afterwards, in actual fact, they were no fit state to do as well as they should have been able to do if they had been fit. Then if you submit a fit to sit under those circumstances, then the work will not be marked and no feedback will be given. However, the number of attempts for that work or exam will be preserved. So for example, if the work or exam was a first attempt, the resit will remain as a first attempt. If the work wasn't submitted or an exam was not taken, so if a student was too ill to submit the work and meet the deadline, or too ill to attend an exam, then if they submit a fit to sit, the number of attempts for that work or exam will be preserved. So again, if the work or exam was as a first attempt, the resit will remain as a first attempt. Now, the fit to sit should only be used in exceptional circumstances. Because there are limitations, it cannot be used on the same assessment more than once. So for example, if it's used in an exam in trimester B, it cannot be used for the resit exam. You only get one fit to sit for each individual piece of assessment for your modules. Now, if you're unsure about whether you should apply for fit to sit, contact someone. Try your program leader, try your module leader, your tutor, or contact the Learning Development Centre. But remember, there is a strict deadline on this. It's 5 days before and 2 days after. So where is the fit to sit? So if you start at the web page, the university web page, click on the hamburger icon, then go to current students and academic essentials, then select exams, and inside the exam area is where you find fit to sit. Moving on to disability support. If a disability is declared on a university application, the Disability Service assesses the student's needs and the required adjustments are put in place to support them with their studies. So for example, a student with dyslexia would typically get an extra 15 minutes per hour in an exam. So a 2-hour exam would become 2.5 hours. Now, disability support given in school or college is not automatically put in place at university. There may be students out there who have had support at school or at college and made the assumption that when they go to university that support is automatically put in place. There is no link between the university and schools and college, so you have to tell us. We don't know if you get a disability unless you tell us. So what I would suggest, if a student has a disability and did not declare it, then they should contact the Disability Service as soon as possible to arrange a needs assessment. Now, another scenario is that we get students who come to university who have been labelled with a disability, but it's never held them back up to now. It's not been an issue for them, and they've decided not to declare it in their application because they're sure that they don't need additional support at university. However, I strongly urge students in this category to reconsider and contact the Disability Service anyway. It's better to have the support in place sooner rather than later. You may never use it, but it's wiser to have it in place just in case you do need it. Because if it turns out you do need it, then once the trimester starts, once teaching starts, it takes a lot longer to get that support put in place. The Disability Service are quite a small team for the size of the university, and it could take several weeks to get the support put in place, to get assessment carried out and the support put in place. So I would say get support in, and you may well go through your whole studies and never use it, but it's there just in case you do need it. Right, classroom and online etiquette. All this is stating the obvious. However, classroom etiquette and online etiquette has become an issue over recent years, and I'm just going through some basic outlines to give you an idea of what you're expected to do. None of this is rocket science. Put simply, show respect to others as you would expect others to show respect to you. For example, if you're running late and you come into a classroom, it's all full of students and the lecturer's teaching away, make your way to a desk quietly. If you need to leave early, let the lecturer know at the start of the class, and again leave the room quietly. You would probably try and pick a seat close to the door. Put your mobile phone on mute or airplane mode during classes. If you're expecting an important phone call, that's life or death, maybe your partner's having a baby or someone's seriously ill or somebody's on their deathbed, fine, so let the lecturer know at the start of the class, and if it happens, quietly leave the room to answer it. Social media. What's more important, your studies or the latest gossip? Comfort breaks. If you need a comfort break, take it before or after class, not during. If you're up during the class, you'll disturb the class. However, these things happen, and if you do it quietly, leave quietly. Online etiquette. Communicate with others online with courtesy, politeness and respect. Communicate with others the way you would expect them to communicate with you. I would strongly encourage you, if you wouldn't say something to someone's face, don't say it online. Review what you've typed before you hit send. Could your words be misinterpreted? If it's an attempt at a joke, who could it offend? Perhaps the smart thing to do is not hit send at all. Remember, social media is out there. Once you've hit send, it's out there. And it could be 10 years down the line, you're going for a job, and the company you're being interviewed by may well do an audit of your online presence. And if they find opinions that you had then that you perhaps don't have now, that could backfire on you big style. So I would strongly encourage you, review what you've typed before you hit send. And if you have any doubts at all, then just don't send it at all. Respect the privacy of others. Don't share someone else's personal details without their permission. Just as you would not expect anyone else to share your personal details without your permission. And remember, if it's on the internet, it's everywhere. Don't put your safety and security at risk. ICT at GCU, where ICT stands for Information and Communications Technology. When you registered with GCU, an email was sent to your personal email address including instructions to how to access PICTI. That's an abbreviation for Pre-ICT Induction. I'll put the link in the description area below the video. And that covered all these topics here: help, passwords, GCULearn, student email, online at GCU, Microsoft 365, at-home software, timetables, library, GCU campus, multi-factor authentication, remote labs, feedback, completion and more resources. If you've still got that email, you can follow the link, or you can use the link I've put in below to take you through this. Now you also find that every student accessible PC in GCU has an app called TikTok installed. Not the one you're thinking of, it's short for the ICT on campus. And it covers help, Wi-Fi, labs, printing, saving work, Microsoft 365, AppsAnywhere, Plagiarism and Turnitin, student services, relaxing spaces on campus, feedback and completion. ICT resources that are based on that can be accessed through the Learning Development Centre website. Again, I brought up the link for that, and there's a QR code. So if you click down there, you can see Learning Development Centre, School of Computing Engineering and Built Environment, and then you'll see a part called ICT Support. When you go into that, you can find a section which has got a whole link. This is the QR code for it, and these are resources that are in there. Each one of these links will take you to support for that individual package. So there's all the Microsoft stuff's in there, including a whole range of other stuff from SPSS and MATLAB and RefWorks, AppsAnywhere, Eduroam, a whole range. So let's look at an example. So you've got a dissertation to write and you're going to be using Microsoft Word. If you go into the LDC website for the ICT, you can find Microsoft Word, click on that, and that will pop up 4 choices. Learning Word Desktop, Word Essential Training, Word Quick Tips, and organising long documents. There's also an additional Padlet with more support. So in this case, if I select Organising Long Documents, it will take you to a video inside LinkedIn Learning. And it's a course. You'll see there's a whole range of topics down the left hand side. I've gone through all these courses myself. I've made sure the most recent version that's on LinkedIn Learning. This one here in particular, Organising Long Documents, is absolutely excellent for dissertation writing. It reminds you how to use all the various headers, how to modify headers, how to go in and change from portrait to landscape back to portrait in your document. A whole range. It's really, really good. And on top of that, it's only about 2 hours 17 minutes long to complete. All these things give you a course time to complete. The videos are top quality, and any material you may need are supplied as well. So it gives a wee flavour of what's in LinkedIn Learning and the resources that I direct you to. Now, the IT Helpdesk, just the overall university helpdesk, you can access them through the My Service portal, which is in the Academic Essentials, and you can email them straight at ithelp@gcu.ac.uk. If you do use email, make sure you use your username, your student ID and all your correspondence, and where possible use your student email. There's a web link and the QR code to get to the IT support. The IT Helpdesk is also a physical thing as well, and it's on the ground floor of the William Harley building. The entrance is on your right hand side as you come up from the bus station. So if you're looking for ICT support, you can go in through the hamburger menu, and it's current students, academic essentials, student support down at the bottom, IT service, and then you've got a list of IT services. There's a whole range of resources to choose from. There's Eduroam, there's email, there's Forefront for password changing, GCU AppsAnywhere, a whole range of resources here. So let's talk about passwords. To log on to any university systems, you need your username and password. Your username is printed on your student card and also in your joining instructions letter. Passwords are valid for 1 year, or that may well have changed. It might be 3 months now. But you will need to change or reset your domain password. Fortunately, when you log into a computer, it will tell you when it's due to be changed. When the domain password is due to expire, you will be reminded also by email. The password is used to log into basically all the systems at university. As you can see there, university PCs, student email, GCULearn, registration zone, secure print copy devices on campus, library online resources, Eduroam wireless network, and individual timetables. So if you're looking for the IT services I showed you earlier on, and this time we're going to go for Forefront, and that is how you reset your password. If you get your password, reset it, go to Forefront, you can use the password reset system as shown. There's the link there. You can also physically go to the IT Helpdesk. Student email. If you go through current students, you'll see the email there. There's various links to get to email anyway all over the website. All students are provided with a student email account and unique email address. Just to let you know, the email address will remain active after your graduation as long as you keep using it. Your student email address is your main registered email address for which all university information is sent to, including service notifications, library reminders, news, updates, important issues relating to your studies and life at GCU. You must check it regularly. Now, student email is typically the username followed by @caledonian.ac.uk. Staff email addresses are usually a username or even their name followed by @gcu.ac.uk. Get into the habit of checking your student email regularly, or set it up to forward emails to a personal account that is checked regularly. When you communicate with the university, use your GCU email address. That's how we know that you are a GCU student. GCULearn. As I mentioned earlier, to get to GCULearn, you can go through the current students, academic essentials, and GCULearn. But as I say, there are other links around the website to get to the same place. GCULearn provides information including materials and contacts for all of the courses or modules that you are enrolled in at university. Your modules will make use of GCULearn, and you should therefore get into the habit of logging on to GCULearn every day. Every time a member of staff updates the content, you need to go look at it. GCULearn can be accessed through any computer that is connected to the internet. This is also where you get all your course materials, study notes, assessments and grades. That's where they're all provided for you on there. It's important that you check regularly for announcements regarding new materials, potential changes to class times, rooms, or even information about events happening within the university. When a member of staff puts in an announcement for a module, they can choose to select an option where every member in the course will be emailed of the change of the announcement. Or if they don't do that, it comes up with an announcement in the module and you would then have to go and read it. Now, the School of Computing Engineering Built Environment module, I touched on earlier on, every student in the SCEBE is attached to the 23-24 School of Computing Engineering Built Environment module. When you go into GCULearn, you'll see this module as one of your options. This module is used to communicate important information and upcoming events that may be of interest to you. The module is also used by the Learning Development Centre to deliver online workshops. And there are a range of useful resources created by the Learning Development Centre. They can all be accessed here. So for example, here we have a whole range there. You've got the LDC workshops on Collaborate Ultra, got the workshop information, dissertation writing series, academic language support, academic writing support, plagiarism, maths and numeracy resources, induction resources, ICT support, study and exam skills, library and LinkedIn learning, library assignment course, GCU Go, and a whole bunch of useful links in equality, diversity and inclusion. And that's where announcements will be shown as well. So typically we put out announcements from the Learning Development Centre on a Tuesday afternoon to let students know what workshops are running on the Wednesday afternoon, the following day. Okay, so on the left hand side you'll see the LDC workshops in Collaborate Ultra. If you select that, you'll then see the list of upcoming workshops. When a workshop has been run, if it has been recorded, it will also be shown in the recordings drop down, which I'll demonstrate later. If you go into GCULearn in general for your modules, you find all of them will have a Collaborate Ultra area. So in this example here, there's Collaborate Ultra. If you go in, you'll see the list of sessions that are running. However, you'll see on the left hand side there's a small hamburger icon. If you select that, you will then get the option to select recordings, and any recordings will be shown on the right hand side. If the lectures have been recorded, you can go in and listen to them all the way to the end of the trimester. Microsoft 365. As a GCU student, you have access to the full Microsoft Office 365 suite of applications to install at home on up to 5 devices. You also have access to the online version of these the applications. You can go into the email account via the App Launcher app. It's a wee 3x3 grid, which I'll demonstrate in the next slide. At the top left of the screen, you can click on the Office link, and from the Office link page, you can click on the Install Office button. It's highlighted here. Or you can just access the Office page directly by going to www.office.com and logging in with your student email and password. So this is what I'm talking about here. There's the 9-dot grid. There's a whole range of online apps here, and on the top right hand side you'll see the option to install Office. You can install up to 5 installations. Now, as a student at GCU, you also have GCU Onedrive. So your new student Microsoft account includes online or cloud storage space in OneDrive, and that's 1 terabyte, which is more than enough for all your study and more. However, once you graduate, you will only retain your email address, so anything you've got stored on that OneDrive will disappear. So if you've got stuff on there that's important to you, make sure you download it onto something more permanent for you before you graduate. So your access to Microsoft 365 and OneDrive will cease when you graduate. So on OneDrive there's a QR code with a link to get you information how to install OneDrive or access OneDrive through a Windows computer, Macs, Android, tablets, iPhone, iPad. It's all there. Now, Eduroam. Glasgow Caledonian University is a member of the Eduroam, that's the Education Roaming Service. So the Eduroam network allows GCU staff and students to use wireless services in participating institutions within the UK and worldwide. And you connect using your GCU username and password. Again, I'll put these links below. So how do you find this information? Get back to the IT service, bring up the list, and there you are, Eduroam information. It'll take you to this page with all the information how to set things up. And again, it'll give you instructions on Android, iOS, Mac, Windows devices and Chrome devices too. AppsAnywhere. This is a fantastic resource, and again, it's through the whole IT service bit, you can find it. Now, AppsAnywhere is a software service which allows students and staff to run software on demand to any Windows PC unfortunately can't be accessed through Macs at the moment. It can be accessed from that website. Again, I'll show you below, and I'll show you how to get to it. It also requires a login with your student username and password, and it also needs a one-time install of the AppsAnywhere cloud paging player. This is a small piece of software that will run on the background of your computer and will facilitate the AppsAnywhere authentication process. Once you get it set up, it's just a case of clicking on it and you'll find yourself with access to a huge range of software. 100 plus applications in there. And the great thing is they don't take up a lot of space on your own hard drive because you're effectively streaming it. So a very, very useful resource. Talking of useful resources, LinkedIn Learning, touched on it earlier on. Again, you will start off the university web page, but this time to get to LinkedIn Learning you have to go through the library. So at the top of the screen, select Library. Will then take you to this page here, select Online Resources, and then you'll find LinkedIn Learning. So you're going through that area there, there's a login procedure, and once you've done it you can bookmark the page and therefore you can access it much faster later on. So there's a whole range of resources in here, there's just a few of them, but here's some more. There's a massive range and they're all top quality. There's everything from Excel, AutoCAD, design, management, time management, all the way to mindfulness. Massive range, really good resource. I strongly recommend you use it. So a wee reminder, ICT support within the school for SCEBE students. The ICT contact is me, Jim Canning. I can be contacted using my email, jim.canning@gcu.ac.uk or through the askLDC@gcu.ac.uk general email. I'd just let you know, if you haven't seen this already, I'm running on-campus ICT drop-ins during the first 3 weeks of the trimester. So if you get any ICT problems, GCU ICT problems, drop in and ask for help. I'll be there during the time shown, and you get this information on the LDC website as well. Be in Computer Lab M541, so that's the George Moore building. So 12 till 2 in week 1, 12 till 1 in week 2, and 12 to 2 in week 3. If you've got any issues, drop in any time during the time I'll be there, and I'll do my best to help you. Way back at the start we mentioned the LDC Wednesday afternoon online workshops. There's a link that gets you to the page for that. It's also inside the school module as well, workshop information. So workshops are running weeks 1 to 4. Planning your writing, managing volume reading, understanding your assignment, international students, academic and cultural transition and introduction. That's also been run the following week, week 3, 12 o'clock to 1. There's writing a project proposal, referencing and avoiding plagiarism, reading to improve work, expanding your academic vocabulary bank, and weeks 5 to 10 covering reading strategies, paragraphs, creating flow, cohesion and argument, sentence structures 1 and 2, presenting effectively, revision, editing and proofreading. Also running a session for preparing for on-campus exams and another one preparing for online exams. So as I say, on Tuesday afternoons we'll send out reminders of the things that are running the following day through the school module. How to be successful? Put simply, attend all the lectures, tutorials and labs. There is a very strong correlation between attendance and success. Submit any courseworks on time. Pass everything, preferably first time. Study constantly, not in bursts. Don't leave it to the last minute. Get into the habit every week. Do your study. Make it become your study habit for all your time at university. Also, communicate difficulties quickly. If you have a problem, talk to someone. Your programme leader, your year's tutor. You've got the Student Association Advice Centre, your Learning Development Centre. Ask any member of staff, and if they're not the ones that will help you, they will quickly put you on to someone who will. So remember, communicate if things go wrong. You are not alone. So during this session, we've covered all these topics. Overview of LDC revision and support, international student support, academic year structure, academic essentials, timetables and independent learning, assessment, exams and coursework, lectures, tutorials and labs, academic performance, plagiarism and the GCU Code of Student Conduct, fit to sit, disability support, classroom and online etiquette, ICT at GCU, Wednesday afternoon workshops, and how to be successful. Now, other useful contacts are Dr. Charles Russell, Associate Dean International, and Andrew Quinn, Assistant Head International. That's their email addresses. Again, I'll put them down below. And there's also Rachel Caledonian from the Student Engagement and Communications team. And that's her email address, and that's all the things that she's involved with that support yourself. So GCU Student Life shows you how to get on Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, and that's their email address as well. So finally, if you do have any questions that have come from this session and you're not quite sure who to ask, try askLDC at gcu.ac.uk. Thank you.